At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Susie Ferrara. She's the lead government and community relations for Savannah River Nuclear Solutions, and she's going to bring our sponsor remarks. Yes.
Good morning, everybody. How are we? Happy Friday. Yes. Before I get started, there's a very important audience here that I serve. If you are with a nonprofit, I'd like to ask you to please stand, because a lot of my job is helping these people. I have World Golden Harvest, I know CSRA, everyone. Would you give these folks a round of applause? What they do for our community is priceless, and many of these people are volunteers and don't get paid a lot of money, and they have a lot of passion. Their passion feeds my passion. So I just wanted to say I saw all of you. Thanks for being out here this morning. So I wanted to thank Tara for inviting me. We got together and she said, Susie, can you talk a little bit about the softer side of the Savannah River side? I'm like, I think we've got a softer side. So we'll find it. We'll tell my boss that she's out of the country. So, oh, here I am. So let's talk just a little bit about, most of you guys know the Savannah River site's been here for 65 years. I'm a second generation worker. I am not an engineer. I'm a journalist by trade. So they figured out I could walk, talk, chew gum. So I guess they said, come on and come work for the Savannah River site. So that's what I do for almost 30 years. You all know that we work for our nation's defense. I'm going to step out of the way for just a little bit. You know we do a lot with environmental stewardship, protecting the environment for over 65 years of operation at the plant. And really our main driver for operations is working with the Department of Defense. We really recycle the tritium supply, the gas, the yield in a nuclear weapon. And we haven't missed a shipment in 65 years. I know a lot of you guys have heard me say that before. That's a really big deal. We have some really smart people out there that make sure that happens. And of course, securing our nuclear materials. This isn't waste. This is stockpile material that we keep here on our American soil, safely guarded 24/7, so we don't have the bad guys get it. And then, of course, any of our nuclear waste, working with our other liquid waste contractors and keeping that safe. You've probably heard a lot about the Savannah River National Lab. It is such intellectual property. We've got some really bright people working at Fort Gordon with cyber. We have our own FBI forensics lab working with nuclear materials. We don't have Tony DiNozzo or anything like that, but anyway, it's still all good stuff. So just so you know who we are and what we do, so as the operations contractor, I tell them we're the roads to commodes. We do the nuclear materials, we do the roads, we do pretty much everything else. So that's a little bit of background if you weren't familiar with what's going on behind the gates. So it goes without saying the Savannah River site, specifically these are the numbers for Savannah River Nuclear Solutions. The economic impact for our area, for this area, is tremendous. Over 1.7 billion. You can see Aiken County, Edgefield County, all the breakouts. Now, of course, this is our dental benefits, payroll, procurements, DOE payment, and losing taxes. So we understand that we, and have been historically, a really big contributor to our community, as is Fort Gordon, Augusta University, and things of that nature. In total, we have about 10,000 people working at the Savannah River site. For Savannah River Nuclear Solutions, we have about 5,000 people. So let's talk about what I like to do. This is what I get up in the morning and I get to come to work and do. And I'll talk a little bit about how we interface with the community. And these are some of our key stakeholders. You see in the photo, that's our South Carolina delegation. It's really, we're such a large city within itself. It's a lot of education on our part, because missions change, people change. So we really you'll see me out a lot at the Chamber of Commerce's and some of my coworkers. We work close with our economic developers, a lot of our educational institutions. I know Aiken Tech's in the room this morning, and some of our stakeholder organizations. Some of you might know Rick McLeod with the Savannah River Community Reuse Organization, CNTA, Don's here with us today. We have a citizens advisory group the Department of Energy hosts, and that gives us feedback from the public on some of the operations or things we're doing on site. So that's a pretty key engagement group for the community, and of course the Nuclear Advisory Council, and our retirees are big. I have to say that, I'm a two-time kid, and if it went for our retirees, we probably wouldn't be working. It's a hard time for me now. The silver tsunami is hitting the Savannah River site, so the folks that have trained me are retiring, and I'm like, no, don't go. But, after 38 years, I think we can let them retire. So it's a lot of change out there. So this is a photo of Jack Craig, our DOE plant manager, and some of our contractor presidents. This is some of our community leader forums. We realize when you work behind guns, guards, and gates, it's easier to come to the community than drag everybody out there. So we really try to do a lot of outreach initiatives. And this is kind of our plate of what we offer: our government affairs, community outreach, our tours program. I'll talk a little bit more. It really is a crown jewel. And we have one lady that does all our events planning. I do our philanthropic giving, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the other roles and responsibilities that we do. If anybody works for a large company, outreach is never a dull moment. You never can assume that your community stays the same. People know what you're doing because we're constantly changing, and you guys always want to know what's going on with the budget, what's going on with employment. So it's a full-time job. So this is Stuart McVeigh, our president, out talking a little bit at some of the community and giving folks involved. I will tell you one thing is that we really do get it, is that we do put a lot of our leadership on community boards, if it's the Red Cross or what have you, chamber boards. We try to get employees involved so we know what's going on with y'all, but more importantly, you've got someone other than me, or you have someone that works there day to day that you can ask questions and interface. So it's a really key component to what we do in our business. And then our philanthropic campaigns, we have to work with the government to get approved. We're a large city and we want to help everybody, but unfortunately we still have to get paid by the government to do work. So we do have a few roles and rules. So that tells you a little of some of the campaigns that we wrapped up. Since Laverne and Rena are sitting over there, I think Rich will be okay. We met our goal for Savannah Riverkeeper Solutions. We raised over $1 million for United Way. That's my coworkers. That's our coworkers. So we just found out this week we're all breathing a sigh of relief, but we know that's going to help the community a lot. So that's all employee donations. Some other things that we're trying with community interface, I will tell you, it's a spoke of a wheel. It's not just North Augusta or Aiken or Augusta. We've got folks that commute from Barnwell, Fairfax, Screven County, Waynesboro. We used to have folks that lived in Charleston and used to commute. So we just try to focus on the central Savannah River area, but no, we've got employees all over the place that commute. So we try to interface in those areas, and of course those are some of the community events we get involved. We're trying some different things like news channels, Channel 4. I don't know, I don't stay up late and watch Aiken Channel 4, but I understand it's going pretty well. We tried some information pods just to kind of get the word out, and then again, just working a little bit more with our nonprofit boards. So that kind of gives you an idea that we're trying to kind of get out a little bit among the community. I will tell you our tours program, which I used to do a long time ago, is truly one of the best public relations program we have ever had. I believe seeing is believing, and when you come to the Savannah Riverside, you've got to see it, believe it. You can register online, srs.gov. We probably still have some seats open. You just get a driving tour of the site, and they take you into the ecology lab, the University of Georgia's ecology lab, and you see some critters. And Elizabeth Harms, our tour coordinator, she's done a great job. But you know, over 3,200 visitors in a year is a lot. And so we were able to educate the public that way. We do a lot of mission related. Of course, we have Department of Defense, DOE, some NNSA folks that come in. So, you know, we got to show the bosses and our clients what we're doing. We also bring in Asian realtors or some special groups because I think you guys need to see what we're doing back there. So we do a lot of work that way. And stakeholders, a lot of our elected officials and things of that nature, we kind of bring them in as well. We're starting something new this year. We have a curation facility on site because the Savannah Riverside is the only DOE site that does not have a museum or a visitor center. So our curation facility is basically built to save some of our original work, capture some of that history from the 50s and the 60s. So we're starting some pilot tours through that. It's pretty impressive, like our first robot. I think one of our first computers that fills a room. It's a step back in time, and some of our corny safety posters, but we saved it anyway. Okay. My boss, Teresa Haas, is really in charge of our congressional affairs. She's out in D.C. a lot. And again, getting some of our Congressman Wilson, Senator Graham, some of those folks coming to the site because obviously taxpayers pay our bills, so we try to keep them definitely educated on what we're doing. And that's just some of the things that we do in government relations. It goes to show if you're not sure what we're doing out there, there's a lot. This photo shows Earth Day, we're planting a tree, and then that lower photo right here that you see here is the celebration of the 50th anniversary of H Canyon. So when we have a party out there, there's a lot of people, so to speak, and that was the employee celebration. But we have one lady, Janet Griffin, that does all of our on-site events. So like I said, when you're having a manager's meeting for 500 people, guys, it's like running a chamber breakfast. So Jennifer, wherever you are, you have my utmost respect, because it isn't easy. And Janet handles that beautifully for us. If there's one thing I can leave you with today, is we are all about education. I talked a little bit about our silver tsunami. We cannot get to our young people fast enough for science, technology, and math. We are with the K through 12 program. We are trying to get these kids, I'm sure, akin to what cyber's doing. We have a workforce that we are desperately trying to reinvigorate. We've got some great new folks coming in, but I tell you, if you have a grandchild or a child in elementary school, get them a math kit. Come see me. We want them to be an engineer. And these are some of the higher education agreements we have. I know Forrest Mahan's here with Aiken Tech. We're very close with them. Kudos to them with our RADCON protection program. Some of our workers, we had a need for that. We went to Aiken Tech, and as a matter of fact, those graduates are working in our facilities now. So those kind of needs, we can come to the education community and say, hey, can you help us out? And they have. So that has worked out. We work a lot with Augusta Tech as well, because when the nuclear field, especially with Vogel, they help train some folks there. So this just tells you where it reaches out a little bit to all those education institution. Ms. Morrison and I were talking earlier. USC Aiken, we're funding a $550,000 engineering endowment, which means that those kids don't have to go to get an engineering degree, an industrial engineering degree up in Columbia. They can stay here. So we are reaching out to our local kids. Like me, we want them to come and work with us. You don't have to move to Atlanta. You don't have to move to Charlotte. You can stay in North Augusta. You can live in Aiken. We want you here. So I'm really proud. And a matter of fact, the majority of our 200 interns this year were local kids. So it was kind of exciting to see that as well. And then our laboratory does some such other scholarships as well. But like I said, K through 12, I'm really proud that we were a major sponsor for North Augusta Robotics, Jane Monroe, and getting those kids here. I think Tara had them here for a chamber demonstration. Those kids were fascinating. It was very, very impressive. Aiken County Schools, we have donated to get some of the national math and science programs in North Augusta High School and South Aiken High School. So we're getting that off the ground. And college night was last night. I don't know if you caught the media stories. Usually they have 6,000 to 10,000 kids. I don't know what the numbers were this year, but it was packed at James Brown Arena. It was a lot. So Jennifer was there last night. That's been a very successful program for us. That's bringing all major colleges to the James Brown Arena. And we can get kids bused from Barnwell and Allendale. Any of these kids in our local community can come and with their parents meet with the colleges. What does it take to get in? What is the scholarship process? How do I get into college? So that program has been very successful and continues to grow for us. And many grants, we give $50,000 to our local teachers. We have a little competition. They get programs for like gardens and ecosystems and math programs and things of that nature, and that's straight cash money, so that's helped. And we're a very strong partner at Ruth Patrick. We do a lot of their science programs and things of that nature as well. So this is what I do for a living, and I love my job. Even with my boss not in the room, I tell you, I have the best job on the Savannah Riverside because I get to help the community. And since the contract began, we've put about over $8 million into the community. That's a lot of paperwork. So you know what I've been doing. And it is a great feeling to know that you can give back and help your community. And it's not an easy job. Some of our on-site campaigns where our employees give of not only their time and talent, but also financially, United Way, Toys for Tots, Heart Walk, and our food drive. And again, those are kind of sanctioned by the U.S. government. But I'll tell you, my coworkers that I work with, these folks are probably the most generous people I've ever worked with. And you just tell them you need help, and they're there. As a matter of fact, Chris Amos is to my left in that photo. Rich Baker is to my right. Chris is from North Augusta, and Rich just led our United Way campaign for this year. So those are real people, and these guys have big hearts. They're always out doing something for the community. And of course, just our local support, talk a little bit about our chambers. We're here for our regional chamber and our economic developers, because without them, we couldn't do business on the street. We're a supporter, I mentioned some of the local things in North Augusta Forward, the Greenway. We're involved a lot with your schools, the chamber, so when Tara calls, I try to help out where we can. And then Aiken Together has a capital campaign helping their museum, the African American Museum, and the SRS Museum as well. And then, of course, some other area nonprofits. If you haven't been over to Aiken, we're really lucky. Florida International helped restore the old Aiken post office, and I get to sit down there every once in a while. But it's really a way that the community can get to us and meet with us, rather than me taking you out to the Savannah Riverside, try to badge you, trying to get you through all security and, all that kind of fun stuff. So it's just been a nice place to be downtown. You're kind of a neighbor on the street. And we use it a lot for community meetings. It's just a nice place that I can, kind of run off site and meet with Mary or somebody here. And I think it's important for a corporation that if you're in a remote location, you really need to have a presence, and you really need to connect with people. You need to be in an area, and that has worked out very, very well for us. Not only do we save an iconic building, but there's something to be said by sitting on the street corner a little bit. You do find out what's going on a lot. And finally, I think one of the most important roles that I have and our organization has is public response, emergency response. And this is a pretty big deal. We train a lot on this. And I think a lot of you guys haven't heard this, and I wanted to share it with you this morning. Our role in public information is probably very akin to a lot of emergency preparedness folks that work for any organization. But this is really important, and we drill a lot. And it's, again, making sure we get information out to the public and news in a timely fashion should we have any type of emergency. And it's effective communications, and I also do part of the stakeholder communications, but we drill and practice a lot. As a matter of fact, we just went through our active shooter emergency response. It was great. It was a really, really big deal. So I just want you guys to know that there's a lot going behind the scenes that makes sure that you get information that's timely. So what does that mean to be on our emergency response organization? You got to be fit for duty. Once a month. 60-mile radius, I can't go anywhere, and it's always a team response. If our pagers go off or our cell phones go, it's all hands on deck, and we respond together. So I'm over the Joint Information Center, and that's where we would have our news conferences and our state and county officials and our telephone response team. And then we have another team down in our Emergency Operations Center and things of that nature. So it's a big deal for part of our role. So I just wanted you guys to know that, because every once in a while people say, do y'all ever drill for that kind of stuff? I'm like, oh yeah, all the time. And I still carry around like the little medical pager. It's crazy, but you gotta have it. You gotta have it. So let me sum it up quickly. Our tours, these are just some of our quick stats, since we work with a lot of folks in the numbers business. Over 200 briefings in our community. Over $1 million last year in community giving grants, and we do a lot of our environmental bulletin communications. And that just shows you some local representation of our executives out in the community. So I just wanted to come out and say this morning in closing, we never take your trust for granted. You've got to have a license to operate in the nuclear business, and it's your community. We wouldn't be here without the people here in this room. I say it every time I go out, but I sincerely mean it. It's important to have your trust. Really, for the company, and it has been for the Savannah Riverside, it's really part of our culture, getting involved. I think you'll find a lot of my colleagues, my coworkers, you'll see them out helping in the community. That's just how our culture is. And then finally, I had a couple of people come up and say, well, Susie, you're in the communications business, you're in philanthropy. What are some things that I can do with my business, and what are some easy steps? So if you don't mind, I think I'm kind of preaching to the choir, because you folks are engaged because you're here this morning. But I would always say, just connect with people. It's really just that simple. I mean, I was joking with our Habitat folks this morning, is my best work is in Kroger or Publix. I mean, they'll find me and I'm like, okay, what's going on? So if I see you at Publix, I'll stop and talk to you, but you have to get out and know people. And those folks that I introduced this morning from the nonprofits, get to know them, because they know what's going on in our community, and they see the side of folks that need some help, and they know how to help those people. And then what I always say, which a lot of you folks are doing right now, invest in your community, invest in your local community, invest in your tech schools, invest in your colleges, because these are the folks that are helping our kids come along too. And then finally, I just call it show your community bumper sticker. How many of you guys like go and drive around and you see the Hilton Head, the HH, or the ED in Stone Beach? So maybe we need a North Augusta one. So wear your community bumper sticker. And then finally, if you're not a member of this chamber, shame on you. We couldn't do half the business in North Augusta if it wasn't for Tara and her group, and I'm sure she can sign you up today on the spot. But you know what? I will challenge some of you guys, and a lot of us, I'm looking in the room, I see every month, bring somebody new with you that's not a member. Because chances are they either don't know how to go about it, or are a little shy and they just want to go with somebody. But do, because chambers, they're crucial for us in our business, and we're a big company, we get it. But if it wasn't for that lady sitting over there, we probably wouldn't know a lot that's going on in Augusta. So anyway, that's all I have. I think I went over my 10 minutes, but always a pleasure to see North Augusta morning. If I can help, I'll hang around at the end. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Come on up with Savannah Riverkeepers. I hope I didn't step on your time.
No, not at all.
I like to swim the river, so that might help.
I'm Sean Richard with the Savannah Riverkeeper. I'm their new Director of Development, and I'm glad Susie got that right. She knows me from a former life with Boys and Girls Clubs of Aiken. I was the Executive Director for 16 years, believe that or not. Savannah Riverkeeper, if you've seen TV or the news, you see Tanya Bonnet-Habitus, if you can say that 3 times fast. She is always on the news. She is always fighting for the river. She is our executive director and a wonderful young lady. Our Savannah River is so important to us. All of us had some of our Savannah on our tables this afternoon or this morning. We drink the Savannah River. We recreate in the Savannah River. We eat the fish that come out of the Savannah River. So it's very important that you have agencies like ours that are protecting your Savannah River. So the Savannah Riverkeeper is also one of the organizations that, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get through this before she holds up her red card at me. I'm only 3 months in, so I'm learning the lingo. But we are the first organization, believe it or not, there's some controversy going on with the locking dam. We're the first organization to legally protect the pool in Augusta. That's big. We wrote legislation, a little bitty 5-person staff organization on Riverfront Avenue wrote legislation to protect your pool level. That's pretty cool. That's why I changed jobs quite literally. I did the research on this organization. It's my second passion in life to see the outdoors and be in the outdoors and use the Savannah. And I tell you what, that group of people over there is a great team. We also do cleanups. Rivers Alive's coming up October 21st. If you want information, see me. We also have membership. If you want to help protect your Savannah for a mere $35, if you sign today, I'm finishing. I will give you a chamber discount. You can come see me. So I want to thank you for your time. Please support your Savannah River and all the other nonprofits. So thank you guys.
I'm Karen Denny. I'm a program coordinator for the wrecking crew. And when everybody hears the wrecking crew, they're like, oh, what do you recycle? We don't recycle anything. We offer social and recreational activities for people with cognitive and physical disabilities. We host anyone from the ages of 6 and up. Currently, we have an 86-year-old gentleman that bowls with us on a weekly basis. We started here in North Augusta in 2002. And we have expanded our services to Aiken and into Augusta as well. We do all kinds of activities. These individuals are just like you and I. They want to do the same things that we do on a daily basis, and they want to have fun. That's what it comes down to. So one of our biggest activities that we started with was bowling. We're over here at the North Augusta Bowling Alley, and we have over 100 participants on a weekly basis that come and bowl with us. Please come check us out on Tuesday afternoons. It is a great thing to see. All of these people enjoying their time. We call it the Alley Cats. And then we offer T-Rex, which is our sporting events, which is baseball and basketball. We're in our basketball season right now. We're always looking for volunteers, first of all. And second, if you're a corporation that would like to assist us and sponsor one of our events, we have a huge fundraiser in the spring that's called Sweet Celebrations, and it's a dessert social and a silent auction to where we do our fundraiser, and usually we raise over $10,000 a year for our organization. Other things that we do are our cruiser activities, which are social activities. We do Green Jackets games. We're excited they're coming to North Augusta. Woo-hoo. And then we do dances. That's how my involvement started, was when I was at Grace United Methodist Church. We did the Winter Wonderland Ball, which was basically a prom for them. And like I said, they want to do the same things that we do. So they get dressed up, they have corsages, and just have a great time. So other social activities that we do are bingo and all kinds of fun things. So that's on a monthly basis. We go to snow cap sometimes. Everybody loves a snow cap. And those are the things that we offer. I think I sped through that in about 30 seconds. So thank y'all so much for your time. We appreciate your support.
Hello. Yeah, back up. I was going to say that looks like the Lions Club. I'm sorry, I didn't join the Lions Club here today. My name is Chris Arnett. I'm with the North Augusta Optimist Club. We are the Friend of Youth. We sponsor a lot of youth activities here in the community. I'll just kind of roll down a few. We sponsor an Easter egg hunt. As a matter of fact, it's one of my own passions. I've been doing that for like the last 10 years. So come down to Lions Field the first Saturday or the Saturday right before Easter. Be glad to have you. We also do all kinds of sponsorships in the community. We're kind of pretty generic, as far as, but we focus on kids. The DARE program, we're sponsoring that at both North Augusta Elementary School and Fox Creek, or not Fox Creek, but Mossy Creek, I'm sorry. We do judging of science fairs. Believe it or not, I'll pick on Savannah River Nuclear Solutions, or SRS. I'm an SRS employee, sorry about that. As the population of employees went down, they couldn't get enough people to support the middle schools. The Optimist Club, one of our members, stepped in, and we do judge science fairs. I've judged thousands of kids' projects. They are wonderful. If you want to get interested and see some of your kids in action, it's a wonderful thing. So sorry, I had to pick on you. But we also do a teacher appreciation for Fox Creek. When Fox Creek started a few years ago, North Augusta, great community, sponsors the North Augusta High School. We stepped in and sponsored Fox Creek, and so we have a teacher appreciation for them every year. Kind of skip ahead, my time's coming short. Got to go to fundraising. So we sell Christmas trees. So if you buy a live Christmas tree and are not buying from the Optimist Club, shame on you. We sell our Christmas trees at Nobcone Avenue, right up from the high school. That's our main fundraiser every year, and we really do appreciate the community. Last couple of years, we've actually had trees stolen from our tree lot. A couple of years ago, one of the local radio stations actually stepped in. We got more in donations than we actually got from selling trees, and that's from this community. Folks came by, donated. I think we were kind of shocked at what this community did for us. So we like to give back, and that's what we do. We do have one other fundraiser. We do a pancake breakfast every spring, and we use that money for childhood cancer. We support families that are in the area just to help them out and their children. So if you see our pancake breakfast come out, please come out and support that also, and that money all goes directly to our childhood cancer campaign.
Putting on another hat right now. I am the new president of the North Augusta Lions Club for the next 2 years, so hence my vest. So the North Augusta Lions Club is very, of course, popular. We've been around for 80 years, and if you know, Lions Club International celebrated their 100-year anniversary this year, so that tells you a lot about the strength of the Lions Club here in North Augusta. Of course, the purpose of the Lions Club is to provide eye equipment, resources for those that are visually impaired, and we also provide resources for those that are hearing impaired. We collect eyeglasses, hearing aids at the chamber, as well as at Fix and Insurance, and there are mailboxes throughout the city. Some of the other things that we do with the Lions Club, we also support scholarships for the high school, North Augusta High School, as well as Fox Creek High School. We also support the North Augusta High School football team. We're the only organization that's authorized to collect money on behalf of the school system. So we are the ticket takers at every home game here in North Augusta, and it's a pretty big task, and we have a big task coming up. I believe it's it's not tonight, is it? Either tonight or next weekend with Strom Thurmond, which is a very, very big game that we have coming up for that. And lastly, I kind of wanted to throw in there, we are your Christmas parade, which is coming up on December 10th. So the Lions Club has been doing that parade for probably over 60 years. It used to be a partnership with the Aiken JCs as well, and they actually used to go across the bridge and partner with Augusta as well. So the Christmas parade is coming up on December 10th at 2 o'clock, and it goes down Georgia Avenue. So please, I will be counting each and every one of you to be a part of that. So I'm not going to take up too much more time as far as talking about the parade itself and how you should be a part of it. Sponsor, put in a booth, $50, best marketing you could ever do for $50. So make sure you stop by the table over there. I think Ms. Faye is somewhere around here. She's the immediate past president of the club. But I also wanted to announce here today, we actually had a contest and we asked some of the kids in the community to help us come up with a theme for the Christmas parade this year. Wanted to make sure we got kids involved. Pink Dipper worked with us on that, and we have selected the Sweetest Christmas Ever is our theme for this year's Christmas parade. And we also wanted to take this time to also announce our Green Marshal, which we usually don't do until about November, but we decided to go ahead and do that today since we have an audience. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with Heidi Gray. Heidi is our local celebrity. She's an 8th grader at Paul Knox Middle School, and she was on Broadway as Enid. So Heidi will be our Green Marshal for the Christmas parade this year. So we hope you all will take advantage of the opportunity to market your businesses or your organizations, your nonprofit in the parade. Nonprofits are $10, corporations are only $50, and we can also help you with float. We'll have an event coming up soon that will help you figure out how best to decorate your float, so we will be able to help you all with that. So thank you all for hearing me on that.
I'm Susan Sullivan, Executive Director of the Cumbee Center to Assist Abused Persons. I do not have a PowerPoint, so I'm not sure I'll step away from that so I'm not mistaken for Habitat. We provide sexual assault services and domestic violence services for those who have been victimized by that. And some people say, well, we never hear of those. But just to let you know, we served over 1,000 victims last year. We are the only rape crisis center in Aiken County and in 6 other counties: Edgeville, McCormick, Saluda, Aiken, Varnell, and Allendale for our one little agency. So we're very proud of that. Plus we helped domestic violence victims also. We have 6 victims advocates who are doing tremendous work. They are dual trained to help both types of victims, and we know a lot of those particular victimizations do intersect. And we also have 2 counselors on staff. We have volunteers. My volunteer coordinator is here today, and she trains volunteers to help us do that work. We also have community education. We do lots of trainings for law enforcement, lots of trainings for community people, nonprofits, so they can work together with us. We know that it's very important to reach people at a very young age and teach them healthy relationships so we can change our culture. And I was even asked today, what is the reason that we do have this violence in South Carolina? We know that it's one of the most deadliest states for domestic violence. More women are killed in South Carolina than any other state. And so we do have a lot of culture to change in our state, and that's one of the things that we work very hard to do. So we are very busy at the Cumbee Center. We are grant supported. We are United Way supported, so we are very glad that SRNS has already reached their goal. That will be a huge help to us. We also depend very heavily on individual and private and corporation donations. We have a great fundraiser coming up October 13th. The Aiken Board of Realtors is doing a casino night for us. So if you want a ticket for that, you can see me after this. I don't have the tickets, but we do have information for that. We can tickets soon. And we have the Whiskey Road Race, which is our traditional fundraiser, coming up November 4th for those of you who'd like to run. So you can check our Facebook page, Cumbee Center to Assist Abused Persons. You can check our website. And we just appreciate your support. And please know that we are here if you know anybody that is a victim of domestic violence, anybody that has been a victim of sexual assault. We meet them at the hospital 24 hours a day. And we meet people at courts and help them with orders of protection. Safety is our #1 concern. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Mike Dager. I'm here with Jean Carline, our Community Relations Director. Why Habitat? Because everyone deserves a decent place to live. We are your local affiliate for Habitat International. Habitat International was formed in 1976, and since then helped 9.8 million people into better living conditions by building, renovating, and repairing homes. There's over 1,300 affiliates in the United States, and we're in 70 countries around the world. Why housing? Decent, stable housing provides more than just a roof over someone's head. It provides strength, stability, and independence, and not just for the person that gets the house, it's also for our community. The house in the center is a house we completed in 2016. There's a couple of our families that we're helping. Our house for this year will be completed in October. Habitat for Humanity in North Augusta is an all-volunteer affiliate. We have no paid staff, so we need your help in the community. We have in 2012, Habitat received the Angel Award from the state of South Carolina as one of the top 10 most efficient charities in the state of South Carolina. Our success depends completely upon you. We need help identifying families that are in need of better housing. We need help with financial contributions, of course, and we need help with volunteers. We need labor to build houses. If you're interested in swinging a hammer, come on out and join us on a Saturday morning. We need professional services, tax, real estate, surveying, that type of thing. And we need people to serve as board members. And finally, I'd like to say thank you to the North Augusta community for your wonderful donations. We have an incredible group of sponsors. Thank you very much. And we really appreciate the help, and we could use some more. Thank you.
Well, that says Cumbee Center. There we go. I'm Nancy Joyce from Community Ministry of North Augusta, and people call it Pomona. It was formed back in 1984 with 6 Christian churches, and now we have 22. There was a house on West Avenue, the SC&G building, and now it's at 646 East Buena Vista, and we are growing. What do? We have emergency food, sometimes weekly food, utility assistance, water and electricity, prescription drugs, clothing, household items when families have a fire, evicted, homeless, or come out of a shelter. Who do we serve? Most of the people that come to us have been sick, are disabled, or have family members that are ill. And some of them have just been released from the hospital. Many had unexpected bills, fixing their car, their grandchildren moving in, funeral costs, new babies, so on. Most have minimum wage jobs, are living on Social Security, and make $900 a month or less. These are, in the red is the number of people that we've helped over the years, for the last 10 years, and the number of families. This is how much the assistance has grown. In food, you'll see the blue, utility, the red, and other is in orange. So over the years, we've really grown with our assistance, and that's over $100,000 every year. How do we do this? Well, we get most of our food through the churches and individuals and schools, and then we buy the fresh items like cheese, meat, eggs, and butter. Ever since we've started, we've had a thrift store that is our main fundraiser. And because of that store, we never have to tell someone that we don't have any money, and our churches help with our volunteers, donations, and monetarily. This is our thrift store sales by year for the last 16 years. And so this is how much it has grown, even though we've been in the same building the whole time. So our vision is to expand our services to assist clients in becoming more self-sufficient. through becoming a support center. We want to invite agencies to meet with our clients at our soon-to-be new building, and that is WIC, South Carolina Vocational Rehab, Habitat for Humanity, Augusta Warrior Project, and Megiddo Dream Station, and others. And we also want to expand our facilities to include showers and washers and dryers for the homeless. Why is it necessary to have a one-stop shop for social services? Most people are embarrassed to tell people about what has happened to them. They confide in us, and then it's easier for us to help set up an appointment with another agency to come to Kimona and meet with the person so they don't have to keep going from place to place to place. A lot of times they have low self-esteem, they're afraid to pursue help past coming to Kimona, and many of the needy do not have transportation to Aiken or for gas money. Kimona needs for additional space. Mostly, the number of clients has been growing, and as the city of North Augusta grows, so does the needy in the community. Most of the social services are in Aiken, and we want the service providers to come to North Augusta. We also, our thrift store sales, they've gone up more than 8 times as much since 2000. And also the merchandising of the goods, sorting the donations, processing all the donations, and so on. We need more space. What is next? We bought a lot, and it's on 529 Belvedere Clearwater Road. We'll be conducting a major community-based capital fundraising campaign, and we're looking forward to expanding our role in the community. So we need the support of the people in North Augusta. So thank you.
Good morning. I'm Ron Skeens. I am the Director of Communications and Development at Christ Community Health Services. I want to take just a second, and we are also a United Way agency. I want to recognize Laverne Gold and Rena Powell over here. And on behalf of all the United Way agencies, Susie, thank you for what you and your folks out at SRNS do for United Way. We truly appreciate it. All right, Christ Community Health. Our mission is real simple, is to proclaim Jesus Christ as Lord and demonstrate His love by providing affordable, quality primary health and medical care to the underserved. What does that mean? That mission statement tells you 2 things. It tells you what motivates our staff, and it tells you that our doors are open to anybody who walks into them. Have you heard anything about insurance in the news lately? Medical insurance, anything going on about that? Well, if you don't have insurance, despite everything that's gone on in Washington the last few years, if you don't have medical insurance, you don't have a whole lot of options in terms of getting your medical care. You can pay the full price at a primary care practice. You can go to a prompt care, the health department. Those all do great jobs in their respective roles. Or you can do nothing. You can ignore something that is very easily treatable, very manageable until it becomes a crisis. That's where Christ Community Health comes in. We have 2 locations. Yes, we are across the river, but we see about 15% of our patients in the South Carolina side. We have our original clinic on Datnack Street. Our larger facility is in what's called the Widow's Home on Telfair Street. Quick story about the Widow's Home. It was built in 1887 for widows of the Civil War and was used until 2003 as a residence for low-income women. We raised about $3.5 million to renovate the facility, but back in time before this building was there, that land is the birthplace of both University Hospital and NCG. So the history and the use of this building fits in very well with our ministry. We provide, first floor is medical care, second floor is physical therapy. I'm getting the red card. Third floor, we have an 8-chair dental clinic. And so that's what we're all about, providing medical and dental care to those in our community with limited resources or no insurance. 2 events I'll mention real quick. Our Sporting Clays tournament at Sage Valley Hunt Club on October the 7th, and we had 450 people last year at the Widow's Home for our Rhythm and Ribs Community Music Festival on November the 4th. If you're interested in being a sponsor, I'm back here at my table. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're gonna finish our morning with Miss Ann Morrison. And Miss Ann, I'm not gonna do a long introduction for you. I'm sure you're gonna let everyone know who you are, what you do. She has over 26 years in nonprofit. So looking forward to hear from her. And then we'll close the morning after that with some door prizes.
Thank you. And thank you to Tara and to Jennifer and the rest of the staff of the chamber, and also to the board members and ambassadors and all of the members. Thank you so much for having me. My bio is in your folder, if you'd like to look at it. I have a dual life, as I say. My husband, oh, okay. My husband is the commander at Fort Gordon, Cyber Center of Excellence. This is actually our 4th time living here. And so, first time I came here was in 1986. And how many of you were here in 1986? Yeah, it looks a lot different now than it did then. Absolutely. But the last time we were here for an extended time was in 2012, and at that point I was working for Symphony Orchestra Augusta, right across the road there in Sacred Heart. But as I was telling the people, I actually come and get my hair did over here over in Kings Ferry. So North Augusta does have a very special place in my heart. But as the little slide here says, I do wear other hats. So obviously, the person I sleep with at home is the Army commander, and so I do volunteer work, and I do a lot of things on post. But my philosophy, ever since we started this journey together, is that I wanted to always have one foot in the community. And so, as you can see, I've been a staff member for nonprofits, I've been a volunteer for nonprofits, I've been a grant reader, I consult for nonprofits now. I also do guest speaking, as you can see. I've been a board member, and I've also taught nonprofits and worked on certificate programs. I did that at the University of South Florida when we were stationed at Dill Air Force Base, and I also did that most recently in Cochise College in Fort Huachuca, Arizona. So that's what I want you to take from that is that every community has nonprofits, and you just heard from 8 nonprofits just now. So let's look real quick at what you just heard. These organizations are serving people who are physically and mentally challenged. They're serving our children. There's health-related nonprofits, education, environmental organizations, community engagement and events. You're hearing that about their fundraising, but also things like the parades and things going on in the community. Affordable housing, social services, faith-based organizations. So there's a lot going on that nonprofits do. They complement our community. They complement the services that the government provides, but just can't do that extra bit. So that's what your nonprofits are doing here. And they're not just doing it here in North Augusta, they're doing it across the river, they're doing it across the country. Nonprofits are innately, in the United States, an American thing. Starting back, go back to your American history, okay? The Massachusetts Bay Company, okay? That's an original example of nonprofit. People coming together with a common purpose to make something happen, to build a community, to help provide those services. They also fundraise, believe it or not. What did they do? They reached back into England and said, hey, we need you all to send money. We need you to send supplies. So think about it. That's the basis of our nonprofit sector in the United States. And that's why we're different. Now, yes, nonprofits now can be seen all over the world, but we're the leaders in this. Right now in the United States, there's 1.5 million nonprofits. In 2010, there were only 900,000. Okay? So there's several things you can take from that. There's either more need, or people are becoming more aware of what's going on in their community and wanting to serve. So, one more stat on you. Nonprofits provide, in the United States, 5.4% of the GDP. So we're not talking about just a little nonprofit raising a few $1,000s and going out and selling cookies or whatever we're doing. This is a business. Just because the word non is in front of the word profit doesn't mean that we're not businesses. And we have to run our businesses as such so that we can attract support from businesses like you and from individuals like you to give out of your own pockets, your hard-earned dollars, whether they're your personal dollars or your business dollars, and to invest those in our programs, in our fellow citizens, and in our communities. So I would like to just tell you that when you look at nonprofits, and especially as business owners and as individuals, I challenge you to reach out and find an organization or several organizations that match your passion, that match what you want to support, that are doing things well, that are managing those donated funds well, as I said to Susie when we were talking, and not just managing the funds well, but appreciating those funds. And not just always asking for more, but thanking and appreciating. Because as an individual or a corporation, we have limited funds on what we're doing, right? And so if you look at nationally, most people give to religion. But I just gave you 8 examples, and you just heard from 8 organizations that serve so many different sectors in our community. So you have to do your homework, but we as nonprofit organizations also have to communicate our message. And so thank you to the North Augusta Chamber for providing this forum for these nonprofits to come out today and communicate their message to you. So what can you do as a business? So I challenge you in these things. I want you to look at volunteering. Think about it. Small business, your profit margin is very, very slim. You don't have to have dollars all the time, but time and effort is worth something to our nonprofits here. So if you can put together a team of folks to come in and do the IT work and set them up for over a weekend with their new computers that were donated by another organization, that is massive. Those are dollars that are so hard to get, but your time and your effort is important. Think about putting a team in a walk. Team building, we always talk about we want to do team building with our coworkers and such. Get out there, do the heart walk, do the Alzheimer's members walk, do the team in training, go out and volunteer for the Ironman over with the room. Go out and work with the environment, but do something that won't necessarily cost you money, but it's something that will enhance your business, your employees, but it will also enhance your community. If you do have those dollars, invest them in the nonprofits. But again, like I said, do your homework. Talk to the nonprofits. Find out what they really need. Sometimes when someone's coming to you and they're talking and they say, yes, we need $1,000 because we're doing X, Y, Z. Sometimes as a nonprofit development person, we get into a little bit of a rut because we're always asking. Encourage them a little bit. Tell me what you want to do with that money. What else do you need? What do you really need? And all of a sudden it pops into their head, hey, wait a minute. This is what we do. This is what we can do. But actually this is a bigger need right now, an immediate need. Talk to our nonprofit folks, find out what they're interested in and what they have, what they really, really need, and engage them in that. Also, we want you to do your own homework. Just because a nonprofit is coming to you, there are many organizations out there online that you can check. You can check Charity Works, you can check GuideStar.org. Look at their 990s, their income tax returns, or ask them for it. This is all, we're about transparency in the nonprofit sector. All that information is readily available. So do your homework and figure out where you're going to invest your dollars and find out what you're going to do. But most of all, what I really would impress on you all is to be that good corporate citizen, that good person in the community who is part of a whole community, helping those in need, helping the environment, helping those who just need a little bit of a hand. And so I hope that, as you can see, we've heard from the giving side today, we've heard from the people who are delivering these services, but now it's time for you all to take a look and look inside and figure out what you can do
And whether it's dollars, whether it's time, or just that general support to give them a forum to tell their story, that's what you can do. So thank you so much for having me.